I would like to note that the interpreter for this evening is Ms. Ashley Arciniega. Mrs. Arciniega is, would you mind raising your hand? She's in the back. And if you need a listening device, and if you'd like interpretation services. Antes de llamar a la Junta a orden, me gustaría notar que contamos con servicios de interpretación para esta Junta. La señora Arciniega está sentada atrás. I'd like to call this meeting to order for the City Council meeting of February 18th, 2025. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Councilmember Aguilar-Hernandez.
Here.
Councilmember Soto.
Here.
Councilmember Flores.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Escobedo.
Here.
Mayor Patino.
Here. City Attorney, Mr. Watson, could you please give the closed session report?
Absolutely, Madam Mayor. With respect to item 3A, conference with labor negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6, instructions were provided to the negotiators, and no further report is necessary.
Thank you. Now we will present proclamations for the future farmers of America, and Councilmember Escobedo will be making that presentation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Today I have the pleasure to present this proclamation for Future Farmers of America Week. Here we go. Whereas the Future Farmers of America and agricultural education provide a strong foundation for the youth of America and for the future of food, fiber, and natural resources systems. Whereas FFA promotes premier leadership, personal growth, and career success among its members. And whereas agricultural education and the FFA ensure a steady supply of young professionals to meet the growth demands in the science, business, and technology of agriculture. And whereas the FFA motto, learning to do, doing to learn, earning to live, living to serve, gives direction of purpose to those students who take an active role in succeeding in agricultural education. And whereas FFA promotes citizenship, volunteerism, patriotism, and cooperation, now therefore Alice M. Patino, Mayor of the City of Santa Maria, do hereby recognize the week of February 15 through February 22nd of 2025 as the Future Farmers of America Week in the City of Santa Maria, and encourage awareness of this great program and its opportunities for youth. Here to receive this proclamation, we have the Santa Maria FFA chapter.
On behalf of the Santa Maria FFA, we'd like to thank you for the proclamation of this week being National FFA Week. The blue jacket is more than just a piece of clothing. It's an opportunity for students like myself to improve their personal growth and leadership, but also gain experience in the agriculture industry. We'd also like to thank you for your support of the agriculture industry, as it's a big part of our community. With that, we'd like to personally invite you to our annual FFA banquet. So if you have any questions or would like to learn more about FFA, please let us know. And again, thank you so much for proclaiming this week National FFA Week.
Could you please introduce yourself and introduce your classmates that you brought with you? And of course, you can introduce Mr. Guerra.
My name is Casey Van Horn, and this year I'm serving as Santa Maria FFA Chapter President. We also have David Guerra, our Chapter Vice President, Ariel Parra, who's our Chapter Sentinel, and Victoria Sanchez, our Chapter Treasurer, as well as Mr. Guerra, our amazing advisor.
Thank you.
It'll be in May, so we'll send you more information on the date and the location and time.
Great.
Thank you.
And thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Guerra, for all that you do, because my kids were in FFA, and I always went to the fair, and that's when you were in FFA. But I still go to the fair, and I love to watch to see what the kids do and how they show their animals, and I know you're always there along with the rest of your family. But thank you very much for what you do for our kids.
Yes.
We are now pleased to present the Winter 2025 Class of Hometown Heroes. The Director of Recreation and Parks, Alex Posada, will be making the presentation.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and the community that's joined us today. I'm always pleased and happy to come up and talk about Hometown Heroes. Our Hometown Hero program began back in 2016 to honor our Santa Maria City residents who have served in the active military. When COVID hit us and the pandemic struck the community, we saw many people from many different walks of life step up and help. So we extended the Hometown Hero program to include those individuals in the medical education field and a few others that helped us through the pandemic. This summer in 2025, when we bring you back our summer class of Hometown Heroes, we'll be reverting back to honoring specifically our military heroes. The program is open to any active duty, volunteer, or any fallen heroes. We ask that if families are interested to contact us at the Recreation and Parks Department to get more information on the program. Tonight we are honoring 8 Hometown Heroes. The program has, since its inception in 2016, has recognized over 200 Santa Maria Hometown Heroes. So it's a big number, a big accomplishment over the years. I especially want to thank the civic groups, American Legion, VFW, other organizations like that, the school districts that have brought their heroes forward and had them recognized by the council. Tonight, our 2025 winter class of Hometown Heroes. I'd like to begin with our first Hometown Hero, Mr. Doug Dierig, Purple Heart Army veteran. Mr. Dierig is nominated by his sister Katie Brown and is here to accept his award. Mayor, or would you like to join us on distributing the certificates? Oh, I have it, I'm sorry. Thank you. Is Miss Brown here? Come on up, both of you. Yeah, great. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Oh, I'm sorry. That's always the big faux pas here, is me getting the names wrong. I apologize for that.
It was right on the certificate.
Good. Next, I'd like to recognize Danny Albert Montgomery. He will not be here this evening, but he was a U.S. Navy veteran, and he's nominated by his wife, Cindy Montgomery. Next, Francis R. Maciel, U.S. Navy veteran, nominated by Marion Quaid Mataglia. Francis, welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you very much for your service, Mr. Maciel. Next, I'd like to recognize Luis A. Navarro, U.S. Army, nominated by and here to accept his award is his daughter, Virginia Navarro. Yes, come on up. Oh, yes, a photo op. Hold on, somebody's coming with a camera. Thank you very much for bringing Mr. Navarro forward to us. Next, I'd like to recognize Manuel A. Cabrera, U.S. Navy, nominated by his uncle Ernie Corral, and here to accept his award is his son Richard Cabrera. Richard here? Thank you, Richard. Thank you. Ruben Pineda, U.S. Army, nominated by his daughter, Virginia Folletta.
I'm Ruben Pineda. I was in the 3rd Infantry Division, Regimental Combat Team.
And Mr. Cabrera, Mr. Pineda, thank you for coming out. He doesn't need a PA system. I could hear him great over here. Thank you for your service. Next, I'd like to recognize James D. Glines. Oops, sorry, I hit the button. James Glines, are you here? Hi, Jim. Jim is nominated by Shannon Dennison, and we want to thank Jim for his community service over the years. He's been an anchor for many community events, the Elks, many different programs and services in the community. So Jim, thank you so much for your service to the community. And last but certainly not least, I'd like to recognize Vince Stern-Jacob, U.S. Army, nominated by his brother Max Stern-Jacob. Thank you for your service. I'd like to also take an opportunity to thank Dennis Smitherman, Recreation Division Manager, for helping out with the awards every year and coordinating the program since we began. So just in case you don't know, the banners are flown on South College Drive, and they'll be up for 6 months. And we'll be back again just before summer to introduce our next class for the summer of 2025. Thank you very much.
And a special, special thanks to all of you who have served our country and have given so much to serve our country. It takes, I guess, just some people just doing what they think they're supposed to do, and they just make a big difference for all of us sitting up here. But thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. The next item will be the presentation of businesses of the quarter, and Councilmember Aguilar Hernandez will be making the presentation along with Michael Boyer, President and CEO of the Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good evening, Mayor and Council and staff. Tonight, it's my pleasure to celebrate Business of the Quarter, and I would like to first welcome up Extreme Electronics, Roger Galvin. For over 24 years, Extreme Electronics has been a pillar of innovation and dedication in our community. Providing a large selection of car audio equipment on the Central Coast, Extreme Electronics provides major brand systems along with custom installations and has truly set the standard for their industry. Founded in 2001, Roger, with just $1,000 and a dream, built this business to grow and to be into a beloved staple in our community. Beyond business, Extreme Electronics gives back to the community by supporting events like Open Streets, donating state-of-the-art sound systems to the Santa Maria Police Department show vehicles. Their generosity strengthens our local businesses, public service, and shared sense of community. On behalf of the Santa Maria Valley Chamber and the City of Santa Maria, we proudly recognize Extreme Electronics as Business of the Quarter. Join me in congratulating Roger and his team.
Good evening, Mr. Galvan.
Well, first of all, I want to thank God. I want to thank my family, my wife, and my kids for supporting me on my crazy dream I had 24 years ago. Then I also want to thank the community of Santa Maria for making the purchases, making my dream happen, one sale at a time. And another thing, I also want to thank the community of Santa Maria, the leadership you brought. It makes it easier for businesses like mine to thrive and do business here in Santa Maria. And one of the best things I ever did was actually joining the Chamber of Commerce. It really launched me forward in the community and making me to be a better person and do more things for the community, such as things for the police department of Santa Maria, and you know, go join events and stuff like that. So I really want to thank the community of Santa Maria and the leadership you have brought us, Alice, and the leadership the Chamber of Commerce has brought to us too. Thank you very much.
I personally would like to thank you, and I wish we had a picture of our car that you helped put all the electronics in, and that's where I first met Mr. Galvan, because everything in that car was donated, and you donated all the electronics. And you could go ahead and name when I went into your shop, I was amazed about how much you had in there. And I don't know what to call everything because it's really pretty techy, but it's wonderful, and I want to thank you to being part of the community and giving.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Hey, Roger.
Mr. Galvan.
You're not gonna get away with this one.
I'm not gonna get away, right?
I know you and your business for quite many years, as of, and you've earned it. You know, you've been. I've seen your vision of doing business, building a friendship. I've seen how you treat your employees, your customers, and that just you know, everybody who walks. I remember the first time I walked into your store, it was welcoming. It was like that place that you want to be. So I was not treated as another person who just walked in your door. So, and that talks volume, and that's part of the reason of your success. And just want to congratulate you, and I'm looking forward to see many, many more years. And by the way, where are you located?
Oh, yeah.
I'm located at 614 West Main Street here in Santa Maria.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. And now I'd like to have Rabbi Keshek come up. The Garden Mediterranean Restaurant and Cafe. It's my pleasure to recognize this business. It's brought rich flavors, warm hospitality, a true sense of community to Santa Maria. Founded in 2017, the garden has become a love spot for those seeking authentic Arabic cuisine with a passion and care. The garden offers quality ingredients and atmosphere welcoming our community. What makes the garden special is not just the food, but the people. A team of 17 dedicated employees have built the success through hard work, innovation, and deep appreciation for their loyal customers. The Garden Cafe has shown generously in gratitude by giving back, supporting the local hospital, police departments with food donations, as well as to honor and thank those who serve and protect Santa Maria. On behalf of the Santa Maria Chamber of Commerce and the City of Santa Maria, it is our honor to recognize the Garden Mediterranean Restaurant and Cafe as Business of the Quarter.
Good evening, everyone. First, I want to say big thank you to the city, to amazing city of Santa Maria and all of you for supporting the Garden Mediterranean. It means so much to me to see this community come together and enjoying good food with family and friends. When I started this restaurant, my dream was simple. I want to bring fresh, delicious, and authentic food, Mediterranean, to the Santa Maria. Food has a special way of bringing people together and wanted to create a place where everyone feel welcome like a family. I'm so grateful and proud to be part of this community and can't wait to keep sharing my love for Mediterranean flavor with you all. Thank you again for your support. I hope to see you soon. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to say thank you to you. And you want to tell us where your restaurant is located?
122 East Boone, cross street from DMV.
And it's really close to the courthouse, and a lot of us go there for lunch.
Yes, yes.
You always see me there.
Okay.
And
Welcome.
you also open to events, which we
Yes.
really appreciate. We
Yes,
we
thank
have the
you.
Women's Lawyer Association lunches there. So I just
Thank
want to thank you for having such a hospitable and welcoming place
Thank you
that
so
has
much.
delicious food.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. So the next item is a presentation from the Santa Maria Valley Chamber of Commerce, and the presentation is to be made by Michael Boyer, CEO of the Chamber of Commerce. Good evening, Mr. Boyer.
Good evening.
Again.
Thank you. Let's see. While I get the clicker, I just wanted to make sure everybody here knows that this presentation is based on our monthly economic impact report that you can get at santamaria.com, as well as in the notes for the agenda of this meeting. So thank you so much, Mayor and council members. Thank you for having me here to present the economic impact report for the first half of fiscal 2025. Over the last 6 months, the Santa Maria Valley Chamber, Economic Development Commission, the Visitors Bureau, and the Santa Maria Valley Foundation, Community Foundation have worked tirelessly to support business growth, workforce development, and tourism in our region. Today, we walk you through the progress, challenges, and successes of our business engagement, economic development, tourism strategies, and workforce programs. At the heart of Economic Development Commission is a commitment to business growth, retention, and expansion. Over the first 6 months of this past year, we directly assisted over 50 businesses, ensuring that they have the resources to start, grow, and thrive in our community, such as assisting through navigating the city processes, attaining state assistance, guidance through regulation, health department assistance. We're usually the first contact to provide these businesses with a connection that guides them through a successful startup. We also organized and participated in over 120 events and meetings, facilitating connections between entrepreneurs, industry leaders, and government officials. We continue to support the development of over 7,400 housing units, which is a critical investment to meet the needs of our growing workforce and community. A thriving community is an inclusive one. Through our Hispanic Business Alliance, we have expanded support for our local Hispanic entrepreneurs, growing to over 200 members now. We have hosted 4 Grow Your Business events, 2 mixers, providing essential resources, mentorship, and networking opportunities. Additionally, our team conducted over 60 in-person business visits, ensuring that our Hispanic businesses and our Hispanic community has the support they need to be successful. Our outreach also extends to local media, radio, and podcasts, amplifying the voices of Hispanic businesses, leaders in the Santa Maria Valley. The 1,200 participants we've seen in our Hispanic Business Alliance events over the last 6 months show the growing momentum around these efforts, and we're excited to build on those in 2025. Local businesses are the backbone of our economy. The Chamber is proud to have over 840 businesses as members. To support and recognize them, we've expanded our promotional initiatives. These include our partnership with you, the City of Santa Maria, on our Business of the Quarter program, where we just celebrated 2 great businesses. We've also continued to partner with the Santa Maria Times on our local business spotlight video series and monthly Chamber editorials. 2 additional ways we highlight our businesses and showcase their industry expertise. This holiday season, we launched a public service announcement to emphasize the steps our community has taken to ensure that downtown is safe and family-friendly place to shop. And through our quarterly business magazine, we continue to showcase the success stories and impact our business community. Developing a strong workforce is critical to our region's long-term success. Through programs like Next Gen CEO, we're inspiring young entrepreneurs to launch their own businesses. Our recent partnership with the Boys and Girls Club of the Mid-Central Coast is allowing us to further reach and impact this program. Our Leadership Santa Maria Valley program is shaping the future leaders with over 400 graduates to date since the program started in 1995. Our very popular Teachers Tour program helps educators connect with local industries to help better prepare for the job market, to help our students better prepare for the job market. Over the last 6 months, 30 teachers have participated with 12 businesses offering tours and discussions around career readiness. We're in our 3rd year of partnering with the County Education Office on this program and hosting our first county-wide teacher tour at Vandenberg Space Force Base next month. We also strengthen our partnerships with Santa Maria County Workforce Development Board, ensuring that businesses can access resources for hiring and upskilling employees. Finally, our advocacy efforts continue to address workforce challenges, pushing for policies that support economic growth, housing, and job creation. Tourism remains a driving force of our local economy, drawing visitors to support hotels, restaurants, and attractions. Through our targeted public relations, paid media campaigns, and influencer collaborations, we have elevated Santa Maria Valley's profile as a premier travel destination. Our immersive fam tours have allowed travel writers and journalists to experience the region firsthand, generating robust media exposure, and additionally, our digital presence is thriving. SantaMariaValley.com recorded over 257,000 visits in these 6 months and delivered more than 4,600 hotel referrals in that same time period. While our social media channels have experienced significant increases in engagement and our newsletter signups have soared. Combined with over $3.9 million in cumulative TOT revenue as of December 2024, these analytics underscore the powerful impact our tourism initiatives on the local economy. Social engagement has also surged over 25% in followers across platforms like Instagram and Facebook, while our newsletter has grown by 18%, greatly expanding our reach. Our digital efforts have contributed to not just website visits and referrals, but also to growing audience. An increase in newsletter signups and an uptick in social media activity further strengthen our communication efforts. Building a strong tourism industry requires strategic engagement. We generate group leads for major events, host influencers and journalists to showcase our region, and expand community partnerships to drive visitor spending. Our visitor guide serves as a key tool to help travelers discover the best experiences in the Santa Maria Valley. These initiatives not only benefit the tourism industry, but also boost local businesses, restaurants, cultural attractions throughout our community. While our TOT revenue saw a slight decline compared to 2023, this trend reflects a broader industry pattern. Despite this, our continued tourism marketing efforts, community partnerships, and visitor engagement strategies are positioning us for future growth. By staying focused on promoting our region, supporting hospitality businesses, and leveraging new tourism opportunities, we remain optimistic that the economic impact of tourism in the Santa Maria Valley will grow in the coming months. Looking ahead and building on these solid results, we are excited to advance our agenda for economic growth and community development in the coming months. The Chamber will intensify its economic development efforts by attracting new businesses and strengthening support for existing ones. Next month, we will be hosting our annual Housing Summit and begin an economic forecast event later in the year. As part of this focus, our team will be attending the International Council of Shopping Centers to reinforce relationships with commercial brokers and retail brands, ensuring that Santa Maria remains a prime local location for future expansion. Meanwhile, our Hispanic Business Alliance is rolling out expanded outreach and networking events, building on recent growth to further empower the Hispanic community, entrepreneurs, and business owners. Our workforce development programs continue to evolve, including innovative training and mentorship opportunities inspired by insights gained at our recent WACE conference. In partnership with the Workforce Development Board, we are enhancing connections between industry and education, including the expansion of our teacher tours program and new programming to connect women with STEM careers. Additionally, we are excited to expand our Next Gen CEO program through our partnership with the Boys and Girls Clubs, fostering a generation of business and community leaders. In December, we issued $125,000 in paid family leave microgrants on behalf of the state of California. And we are preparing to issue another $125,000 shortly, with a final round expected before the end of the fiscal year, ensuring that local businesses continue to receive the essential support in paid family leave. On the tourism front, the unveiling of our new Visitors Center will offer an enhanced, immersive experience that highlights Santa Maria Valley's unique attractions while enforcing our region as a premier destination. Our Leadership Santa Maria program will be recruiting the class of 2026 this spring, with the new cohort to begin August 2025. Meanwhile, we look forward to the celebration of graduation of the current class in this June. Together, these initiatives lay the foundation for a stronger and more vibrant Santa Maria Valley, driving a long-term economic prosperity and community enrichment. We look forward to working alongside our members, partners, and stakeholders to bring these exciting efforts to life. As I wrap up, we want to extend a heartfelt thank you to our chamber members, our local business community, the City of Santa Maria, our partners, and local leaders for the support and collaboration. The Santa Maria Valley Economic Development Commission, Visitors Bureau, and the Santa Maria Valley Community Foundation remain committed to fostering business growth, strengthening workforce development, and promoting tourism to make our region a thriving place to live, work, and play. We look forward to working together in the coming months to build this success. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of Mr. Boyer? Comments? Questions? Thank you very much, Mr. Boyer.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is public comment. Madam Clerk, we have 16 requests to speak. So what is the pleasure of the council? Because public comment is to last 15 minutes, so we have 16 requests to speak. So what would you like to do?
Would you like to give them each 1 minute? So we're 16 minutes so that everybody gets to
Okay.
speak?
Okay, so everyone has 1 minute then to speak. So when I call your name, if you line up there closer, that'll go much faster. So Roberta Thompson.
If I can read public comment really quick, Madam Mayor, the rules for public comment.
Read there, Madam Clerk.
Speakers may provide public comment on any matter within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. Each speaker this time will be limited to 1 minute, maximum 50 minutes for public comment period. Unless a majority of the council objects, the mayor may provide speakers more or less time to speak. All comments or queries shall be addressed to the council as a body and not to any specific member thereof. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54954-2A2, the Ralph M. Brown Act, no action or discussion by the City Council shall be undertaken on any item not appearing on the posted agenda, except to briefly provide information, ask for clarification, provide direction to staff, or schedule a matter for a future meeting.
Thank you. Roberta Thompson, followed by Gary Hall, followed by Nancy Mastropieri, followed by Jayla Vandelaz, followed by Luce. Go ahead, Mrs. Thompson.
Every Sunday morning from 7:30 a.m. till 5 p.m., soccer games are played continuously at Tommy Kuntz Junior High School. While I have no issue with children playing soccer, I do have major concerns regarding the blatant disregard for traffic laws and parking violations that the surrounding neighborhood endures. When cars are parked on the red curb, are double parked, or block the oncoming view around the corner, a traffic gauntlet is created, mostly along Caboose Avenue. In addition, there are unpermitted food sellers on the grassy sidewalk area along the fence. Those vendors double park their trucks, and they place items in the street to prevent extra additional parking spots. Cars completely block the wheelchair access ramps as well as the fire hydrants. The drivers have been verbally threatening to me. The soccer league manager has been, okay. I invite you to come on Sunday morning.
Okay, and our interim police chief has taken that down, and so we will be addressing your issue. Thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
can I make a comment?
Mr. Escobedo?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just want to commend Ms. Thompson for her commitment to keep working. We've been having conversations about this item, and it's a dangerous situation. And we actually have a board member here with the Santa Maria Bonita School District. So definitely looking forward. Hopefully, we can work together and addressing these concern in the neighborhood surrounded by the school. So.
Gary Hall, followed by Nancy Mastropieri, followed by Jayla.
I can't do it in 1 minute, Alice. You know that.
Well, you have to.
I represent the North Santa Barbara County Manufacturers Homeowners Team. Our NSBIT goal remains to provide protection to all Santa Maria mobile home residents presently living in an unregulated rental market where the current model lease program has been ineffective in protecting homeowner equity and maintaining affordable mobile home housing. 2.5 years ago, this council passed a motion with the intention of improving the 2020 model lease or replacing it. An effort was made, but neither has yet occurred. Skipping ahead. Now, 5 years later, after the model lease was passed, mobile home residents in Santa Maria continue to struggle. All we ever asked for was to be treated like those mobile home residents in unincorporated Santa Barbara, Santa Luis Obispo, and Ventura counties. To be treated like the mobile home residents in cities like Lompoc, Morro Bay, Pismo Beach, etc. Those jurisdictions listened to their residents and provided the rent stabilization protection they deserved, like we deserve. Please bring mobile
Thank
home
you,
rent
Mr. Hall.
stabilization back to the agenda.
Thank you. Nancy Mastropieri, followed by Jayla, followed by Luz, followed by Flor Villegas. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak to you. I hate speaking extemporaneously, but felt compelled to come this evening. I moved here in 1997 from New York City. I love Santa Maria. I came from a family that included members of the FDNY. I know firsthand the type of dedication, strength, and courage it takes to be a firefighter. I understand that Santa Maria firefighters have been working without a contract for more than a year. And anyone who's worked a job knows that the money you earn puts food on the table, pays for education, medical benefits, housing. I urge you, with every fiber of my being, to get back to the bargaining table and to give these firefighters what they deserve. I don't want to see Santa Maria become like Los Angeles. We watched all of that in horror. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Jayla, Luz, Flor Villegas, Claudio Santos. Good evening.
Good evening. For so long, I have been complacent in my mistreatment and the mistreatment of my community. I have personally silenced myself and my community from liberation and peace. I'll never forget the sobs of my people for fear of leaving the land they had so much promise in, and the bruises and scars from working in the fields and picking the agriculture you nourished your bodies with. I'm demanding we have a 2-mile radius protecting our city and things like churches, hospitals, schools, and parks, and aid our community of immigrants who have done nothing but feed, love, protect, and work for their families and for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Luz Brundage.
I had firsthand experience to what it's like to be separated from my family. Growing up with both my parents being immigrants and striving towards giving me everything, living in a 1-bedroom apartment and struggling with the health of my father, with the constant stress of my mother, of not having enough money to not having enough food in our table. My name is Luz Ramirez, and I'm from Santa Maria High School, and I know what it's like to struggle, and I'm tired of struggling. So listen to us, listen to our younger generation for what we strive towards, and help us feel safe. I'm here to ask you to grant us the safety that we and our parents are to be able to go to school, parks, and churches without the constant fear of getting detained by immigration authorities. Thank you.
Thank you. Flor Villegas, followed by Claudia Santos, followed by Andrea.
Good afternoon. I've come here to fight, not for me, but for my community and the people whose voices aren't able to be heard. I come here to ask for a 2-mile radius around schools, parks, churches, and hospitals to protect the people around them. My name is Flor Villegas, and I am from Santa Maria High School. I come from parents who fought through hardships to get me here, to stand here to demand for this protection. The Constitution offers freedom of speech, liberty, life, religion, and pursuit of happiness. Although they have given us this freedom, there have been restrictions that have limited our ability to use these rights. For instance, the immigrants who can't use their voice for the fear of being deported. Now I ask you, how many more people should be living in fear in order for you to acknowledge what's going on in our community? Because in the end of the day, what you are allowing will create what our tomorrow will look like. Nuestra existencia es nuestra licencia. Thank you.
Thank you. Claudia? Followed by Andrea.
Good evening. I'm here today to speak for those who can't. I am here asking for a 2-mile radius to protect our schools, churches, parks, and hospital. I am asking for this because the people of our community shouldn't have fear when we go to school, buy our feeds, or even wonder if we will see our family at the end of the day. My name is Claudia Santo. I have seen my parents suffer enough with putting food on plates that feed many. Parents who work like this shouldn't be into fear in their community. I still see immigrant working at the fields to be able to put food on their plates and others' plates. But they do this in fear, fearing their lives for you. Lastly, I would like to say, jóvenes, nuestra existencia es resistencia. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrea?
Good evening. I'm speaking with many other peers that I admire for being here. I just want to say I'm very proud of everyone who's here to join me. And I didn't prepare anything, but...
Could you please, I call your name, but can you give your name?
Yes, my name is Andrea Cardenas.
Cardenas. Okay.
My mother came here when she was only 2 months old, and I also have no father, but I am very proud of the many women figures in my life who are leading me, and I believe in being able to go to college, and I also believe in the many Mexican American and Mexican people in this country being able to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Medeli, followed by Esperanza, followed by Antonio. Medeli, followed by Esperanza, followed by Antonio.
Good afternoon, City Council members. I am here demanding a 2-mile radius protections in churches, schools, hospitals, parks, where immigration isn't allowed to detain, investigate our undocumented community. Mi nombre es Maideli Aguirre, and I am here to be the voice of my undocumented community that can't speak for themselves, my peers that are constantly fearing of their safety, fearing that they will be separated from their kids fearing constantly to come back home from school and not seeing their mother, father come back from the fields or work. I am Maideli. I have experienced fear throughout my whole childhood, fearing I'm going to be separated from my parents and become one of the criminals, or like our current president calls us, aliens in people's eyes. And I'm fearing every single day of my dad picking me up from school, fearing that one day my mother, who has picked strawberries, raspberries, berries here in Santa Maria since she was 20. Thank you.
Thank you. Esperanza, followed by Antonio. Followed by Jesus Herrera.
Hello, everybody. I'm here to demand a 2-mile radius protection for the hospitals, schools, parks, and churches. I am Esperanza Zafirino, and I am here on behalf of the youth and those who can't speak due to silence, fear, and of being afraid and have given up hope. I am here because the future depends on us, the youth. We are here to support the silent and the weak. We are here to show that those who put food on the table, who do all that physical labor and not have recognition and being protected is unimaginably sad. I'm here on behalf of those immigrants who are scared, who are wishing every day they get by for their kids, for their lives, just by not being able to be protected by those who they've been feeding. Jóvenes, nuestra existencia es resistencia. Thank you.
Thank you. Antonio, followed by Jesus, followed by Michelle, followed by Destiny Jimenez.
Hello.
Good evening.
I am asking for a 2-mile radius around schools, churches, parks, and hospitals. I've seen my parents break their backs in the fields. I recognize their hard work and courage that they put out there just to, put food on my table, to be able to give me a better opportunity. My parents came here at a young age to start a family and be able to give their family a better opportunity. They're just here trying to give us the American dream. And I would like to remind you guys of what the Pledge of Allegiance says: liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Jesus, followed by Michelle, followed by Destiny, followed by David Rosales.
Good evening. I'm very thankful to be given the opportunity to speak in front of everyone here today. To be given the chance to voice what many cannot, I will always be grateful. My name is Jesus Herrera Romero. Just another Hispanic name that brushes by many ears. But today, I marched 2 hours and 40 minutes to City Hall today. Booed, laughed at, yet cheered on with my fellow peers from Rigetti High School to demand a 2-mile radius of protection around schools, churches, hospitals, and parks. I personally speak on the behalf of my hardworking grandparents and my family that cannot be here, who endure an ever-growing fear of losing the home they created because of ICE. Our nation is built on immigration, not deportation. Our fathers fought for our future, and now is the time to fight for theirs. With the joint voices of everyone else here, I believe that the city will listen to us and protect our families and community with this 2-mile radius. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle, followed by Destiny, followed by David, followed by Cesar.
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Michelle, and I am a community member here in Santa Maria. I'm here on behalf of hundreds of undocumented students, adults, and families. And I speak in support of the youth who are here rallying for immigration rights and protections. The targeting of the Latina community is not new, but still feels exhausting and feels scarier than ever. As a kid with immigrant parents, our biggest fear is being separated from our families, and that one day we get home from school or from work and our parents are gone. A lot of these fears are not new, and they continue to be a reality for the youth of this generation. Today I look outside and I see how many of our Santa Maria youth organize to stand up for their families, for their peers, for their parents who cannot stand up for themselves right now. And it makes me feel proud of how strong and how brave this generation is for taking a stance against racist policies that tear families apart. As ICE continues to terrorize our community, I ask that you side with our youth and instill a 2-mile radius around churches, schools, parks, and hospitals. Thank you.
Thank you. Destiny Jimenez, followed by David Rosales, followed by Cesar Vasquez.
I'm here today to fight the oppression that still faces me and my community. My name is Destiny Roswitha Jimenez. I am an indigenous Mexican American woman who has fought to get her voice heard. I stand here today on behalf of all my ancestors, allies, and friends. I stand here to speak for those who missed their chance and couldn't. I am here to demand the 2-mile radius of protection from all around schools, churches, parks, here in Santa Maria now. I demand it because I know there are people that are scared that they will get deported or that they will get obtained while their child is in school, while they are at work, while they're trying to provide food for their family. I understand the fear that they face as they just want to live here in peace. And that concludes what I have to say. Thank you so much for letting me speak.
David Rosales, followed by Cesar Vasquez.
Good afternoon, everybody, council members and mayor. I'm here standing for my people today because they have been silenced. Their fear of immigration And our people work from sunrise to sunset, and really hot days, rainy days, they work no matter what's in their way to put food on the table. And I'm here demanding today a 2-mile radius around schools, churches, and parks here in Santa Maria now. We should treat them with respect and not like criminals. Without them, Santa Maria would be different. Who will pick the crops? My community is an important piece in the economy of this country. And one last thing I will say, if we ever close the door to new Americans, our leadership in the world would soon be lost. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Vasquez.
30 years ago today, 2,000 people all around Santa Maria marched against Proposition 187, a proposition which would take away the rights from immigrants, from them receiving public services. Today, students from 7 different campuses all around Santa Maria marched to City Hall to demand a 2-mile radius of protection around schools, churches, parks, and hospitals. And today here I have a message for the world. My message for the world is to remember to have hope. We are in a time of fear, but we have to remember to have power, to have unity, to have strength, and most importantly, to have each other. We cannot let the powerful give us fear. We cannot let the powerful control us. It is our turn to take the world and make them look at us. It is our turn to make you all look at us. So please look at all the youth who marched here today, the 2-hour marches, the hour marches, and please defend our future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for staying within those time constraints. I know that's difficult, and thank you, Mr. Hall. We know here that immigration enforcement is a sensitive issue, and we've heard concerns from residents, community groups, and nonprofits about federal immigration enforcement. Our message as the City of Santa Maria is clear. We want people to feel safe interacting with all city employees, especially police officers, without fear. The City of Santa Maria deeply appreciates and values the trust and cooperation between all its departments and all of its residents, regardless of immigration status. The city remains strictly focused on local public safety responsibilities. Anyone who victimized members of our community will be held accountable under the law. The Santa Maria Police Department does not enforce federal immigration laws or take part in immigration enforcement operations. Additionally, we adhere to all state laws that place limitations on local law enforcement roles on immigration matters. Neither the city, the county, nor the state of California can lawfully restrict federal agents, including immigration and customs enforcement agents, from conducting administrative or law enforcement actions within the boundaries. The request for the City Council to establish a zone around local schools, churches, hospitals, or other sensitive areas to prohibit federal agents from performing authorized duties is outside the city's scope and outside of our powers. The city and City Council lack the legal authority to prohibit the federal government from conducting federal law enforcement actions. That is the purview of the state of California and/or the federal government. We respectfully respond that such requests be made to your state and to your federally elected representatives. If a resident is a victim and needs police services, irrespective of his or her immigration status, that person is welcome to contact the Santa Maria Police Department. Your immigration status does not affect how our city treats or serves you. And we will not ask about your immigration status. And thank you very much for being here.
Madam Mayor, if
Yes.
I may, I
Ms. Soto?
do believe that there is a bill that has been introduced, Senate Bill 48, Safe Access to Schools, which would prohibit agents or employees from ICE from entering school grounds for any purpose without providing identification or a judicial warrant. And so I know that the City Council in Salinas adopted or approved a support letter for that proposed state bill that would strengthen protections against immigration enforcement at schools. Is that something that we would be able to do? Do we have the support of the council to do
I would have to
a
ask-
support letter like that?
I would have to ask our counselor here.
Again, a support letter. There's also another pending bill, SB 56, which again also deals with that issue. If it's the will of council to authorize the mayor to execute a letter supporting that bill, that certainly is within the concurrence of council. I just want to be clear to the community is that unfortunately, the Supremacy Clause of the United States Constitution does empower federal agents to work within the boundaries of the United States, particularly within 100 miles of any boundary of the United States, which would include the seashore. The California has enacted and been very specific, the California Values Act that prohibits local law enforcement from cooperating with federal agents purely for the basis of immigration status elements. And our police department strictly adheres to that regulation and requirement. However, we do not have the ability to put up a boundary fence against federal agents despite the community's desires. So with respect to that, there would not be any authority, as the mayor has outlined, for this council to enact any prohibition. However, it certainly would be within the council's prerogative if they so choose to support any bill that is currently pending in the state legislature. Happy to answer any other questions.
Thank you. Any questions?
No questions. I would just like to reiterate that the message that we heard from young people tonight and community residents that our schools, hospitals, places of worship should not be places for there to be any fear. And if sending a support letter from the city of Santa Maria in support of these two pieces of legislation, I think that would send a really loud message to our community, our immigrant community, that we see them, we stand in solidarity with them, and that we support them through these very difficult and challenging times where families are being ripped apart. And if that is as far as our city council, as far as our local government can do in terms of providing protections for our residents, regardless of immigration status, then I would like to invite my colleagues to do so and vote on sending these support letters.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Soto. Any other comments? Okay, thank you. Okay, the next order of business is a consent calendar, and we'll move to the consent calendar. Does anyone have items they wish to pull for discussion? No? Okay, I want to pull item, what is that? Item 12F6. And that is authorizing the consolidation of Guadalupe Transit bus services. And so we're going to take a look at that and see if this helps the bus services for Guadalupe. And being that they are such a close municipality and they have a hard time developing and managing their own local public transit. And so with us managing it and getting back and forth, because the people from Guadalupe do come in here into Santa Maria. So that was the only thing I had to mention.
Okay. Nothing to pull. So I move that we approve the consent calendar, except pull what item?
Okay. I'm just commenting. No, I don't pull it. Just commenting on it, that's all.
I move that we approve the consent calendar.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Councilmember Aguilar Hernandez.
Aye.
Councilmember Soto.
Aye.
Councilmember Flores.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Escobedo.
Aye.
And Mayor Patino.
Aye. Next, we have a regular business item, the financial report for the second quarter. Ms. Bradford, the interim director of finance, will be presenting this item.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So today in front of you is the second quarter financial report for the current fiscal year of 24-25. The two recommendations in front of you are to receive and file the financial report for the second quarter ending December 31, 2024, and to adopt a resolution approving second quarter amendments to the 24-25 budget for personnel and operational changes. So we'll look as usual at the economic outlook, then at the trends in the general fund, including Measure U for revenues and expenditures, and then have a brief look at the enterprise funds. So the economy continues to expand at a steady pace, but still is growing. It grew at 2.5% in the last quarter, moderating from overall 3.2%. The inflation has improved since the peak inflation of 9.1% in 2022, and was most recently in September at 2.9%. Yet the cost of goods, cars, insurance, and housing is much higher now compared to 4 years ago. So we are seeing those financial pressures in our city budget as well. The U.S. unemployment held steady at 4% compared to prior rating of 4.1%, which is below full unemployment, so that is a good rating. So now we'll turn to looking at the general fund and Measure U trends. This is the chart that shows overall picture for the general fund. And you'll see on the top the revenues for the fund, which are the adopted budget compared to the current budget, and then actuals to date. So the revenues that we have received are at about 40% of the total budget, which is reasonable for a half-year mark. The expenditures at the bottom of the chart are at $45 million, which is also around 40% of the overall budget, which is also on track and is reasonable. Now let's take a look at some of the trends in revenues and expenditures at the fund level. You will see that in the green, the 24-25 are the current numbers, and in the blue are the prior year numbers. So you will see on the left, the revenues this year are coming in at $37.5 million compared to last year of $34.5 million. And that is actually primarily due to activity in economic development. So continued growth in ADU activities and other building, as opposed to the general fund revenues growth, which would be the sales tax, the property tax, and the TOT. On the expenditure side, you will see that the expenditures are at $45 million compared to $40 million prior year. So our spending is higher due to those pressures in expenses. Sales tax is the major driving force for the city of Santa Maria for its general fund. So that's why we want to take an additional foot at that. Once again, the green is the current year versus the blue is the prior year. You will see that overall trend throughout the major categories is a little bit lower this year compared to last year. Most of the green bars are just a little bit lower, showing that kind of slowing down, growing but slowing down economy, and really the consumers' spending trends based on their confidence and the prices. So general consumer goods are lower, county pools lower, Altus transportation, etc. This chart compares the trends by month. So the same picture, you will see the current is in green, and then the actuals for 23-24 is the little line with the triangles. You will see that overall we are also trending just a little bit lower on the sales tax receipts. Now, expenditure variances are primarily due to staffing. We are under budget by $3.4 million at this point, or 4.7%. That is primarily due to vacancies in the police department. Hiring chill has also been implemented as a policy, and we will likely continue to see additional savings generated based on that policy through the end of the year. Our contracts and services expenditures were also under budget, but that's just a timing difference, with the general plan update continuing to progress, and also the animal services contract timing of payment. Now let's take a look at Measure U specifically. Similar trends as for the general fund. The revenues are at 51%, which is reasonable for half mark. And then the expenditures are only at 38%, but that's primarily due to timing of capital improvement expenditures, specifically in the fire department. Departments have been working on implementing budget reductions, and so the city manager has implemented budget reductions and modifications to the programs that we estimate to generate approximately $6.5 million in savings through the end of the fiscal year, which will contribute or narrow the budget gap for the general fund and Measure U. As I mentioned, the hiring freeze for non-public safety positions only has been implemented, but we continue to see this trend that you see on the graph, to where the red line, which is expenditures, has significantly come down based on the policy that have been implemented. However, the revenues still continue not to meet the overall growth of expenditures. So staff recommends continue to work on strategies to balance in the financial plan and achieving long-term fiscal sustainability. One of the recommendations would be to not only look at the expenditure side, which staff will continue to work on through the next budget development and the next financial plan, but also to look at revenue options. And so two of the more common or more feasible revenue options that the city could consider is once again looking at an additional sales tax increase, which there is a capacity of a half cent remaining, or look at other alternatives such as property tax-based initiatives, such as creating a community facilities district, which can fund both operations and capital expenditures on either as pay-as-you-go or debt issuance. So staff recommends that the city consider doing a survey of the sentiment of the voters sometime in the next year. Looking at enterprise funds, just really briefly, all of the enterprise funds are very healthy. So our water and wastewater fund is $5.57 million higher in its revenues than last year. It's 14.5% in savings on the expenditure side, doing rather well and healthy as the water and wastewater revenues are continuously looked at and being updated. The solid waste fund is in the same position. Our revenues exceeded the expenditures by $4.8 million. Operational costs are under budget by 9.3% due to the usual variances in staffing and timing of projects. Now, on the public transit, fare revenue is approximately $320,000 lower than last year, which is about $320,000, which is about $27,000 lower than last year. And the fare box ratio is remaining at fairly low levels of 9.9%. Now we'll look at some of the budget amendments that are recommended for your approval tonight. None of these budget amendments impact the general fund budget gap. They all have sufficient funding behind them, which is why they're being recommended to you today. So the first one is actually dealing with the budget gap. We want to recognize that the city has been setting aside $13.2 million in reserves for unfunded pension liability. This was created in 2018 when the city was proactive, when the CalPERS started changing its policy direction and increasing the payments that were required to be made by municipalities. So because some of that pension cost is continued to put pressures on the general fund, staff recommends starting to draw from that fund, which sits at $13.2 million, and to draw in this year $3.1 million instead of using funds of the local economic augmentation. Now, the second budget amendment that's recommended is to reallocate 2 of the Recreation and Parks Department's full-time positions from general fund to landscape district funds, which is the duties that they will be doing for the district's benefit. So that does help the general fund once again by $200,000. Another recommended amendment is to increase appropriations by $30,000 to purchase a backflow module. This is just an additional integration for the big ERP project that's going on in the Utilities Department, and they have sufficient funding. Another amendment is to increase appropriations by $150,000 for AB 1600 growth mitigation program update. So that is also beneficial from financial perspective because the city is undergoing the growth mitigation program update right now, which will help the city financially in the future. Increase appropriations by $125,000 for the purchase of Lot 20, which is an action that the council has already approved at contract level, and we are just looking for true up in the budget appropriations. This budget amendment is to increase appropriations by $1.9 million from, from growth mitigation fund as well as from a developer fund. So that is a planned project for improvement of drainage system. Another increase of $2.4 million from the REAP grant for a sewer project. An increase in the transit fund, increase of $774,000 to purchase additional 5 buses, and an increase in appropriations of $100,000, $785,000 to increase operating expenditures to meet the needs of the new microtransit service program. And that concludes my presentation. In front of you is the action to adopt resolution and accept the report.
Thank you, Ms. Bradford. Are there any questions from the council?
I do, Madam Mayor.
Ms. Soto?
Thank you for the report. I have a couple of questions. The first is pertaining to the operating expenditures. I know that in the report it was mentioned that expenditures are outpacing revenues, I believe, quite significantly, at least from these charts. And when you do the comparison of operating expenses from this year versus last budget year, 23-24, there is about a $5 million or so difference, $5 million or so difference. And so my question is, of those operating expenditures, how many of those were already appropriated in years prior, but the cash is being expensed this budget year?
None.
Or any of them?
None. That would be the only time where that would occur would be in the capital improvement program, not in the operating program.
Okay. And then, thank you for that clarification. And then my other question is pertaining to the breakdown of, I believe, the Measure U expenditure funds by category. I think that this is maybe I have mom brain, I don't know, but this is the first time I see this pie chart where youth services are separated from quality of life, and perhaps it's just the visual. And so I'm curious, how are you breaking this up? What constitutes youth services of 0.8 million and quality of life services as 0.9 million? What are going into those buckets? How did you separate those two? Because before, it was all seen as one bucket.
Councilmember Soto, the policy of the youth services versus quality of life was established by City Council in 2019, I believe, when the Measure U was extended. So it's always been in those two buckets. I would have to look at, I believe the youth services is primarily rec and park programs versus quality of life is like code enforcement and community development.
Okay. Have we put a pause in rec and park programs? Are we making cuts to that?
Councilmember Soto, I believe that none of the programs as far as service to community have been impacted.
Okay, great. And then my questions pertaining some of the recommendations that were outlined in the staff's report. My biggest concern, not concern, but a question that I have around transferring funds from the unfunded liability pension reserve into the local augmentation fund. I remember having us as a council having a very detailed presentation a couple years ago regarding the unfunded liability pension and really catastrophizing that. And so by us tapping into the unfunded liability pension reserves, what impact, if any, will that have down the road?
Councilmember Soto, it is true that the CalPERS could continue to make changes to its policy. However, these dollars were used for the specific purpose, and the pension expenditures that you see in the operating budget are higher and growing. And so it is reasonable to start drawing on this reserve. At the same time, the council has full discretion over both the local economic augmentation fund and the pension fund, so it's completely at your discretion on how you move the money around at any point.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Going back to the fare box ratio, you said 9.9%. Is that up or down from last year?
Mayor, I believe that is down.
That's down. Okay. So going to the amount that we're going to be allocating for the sewer upgrades in the downtown specific plan. Yeah, there it is. And that we got. When is that going to start?
If I
Mr.
could-
Fulgoni? Okay.
The project has been awarded, the sewer project has been awarded and is ready to start construction.
Okay, but when is it going to start?
I don't have a construction start date, but within another month or so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we awarded it, what, about a month or two ago? Was it?
Yeah, I
2
think
months
it was
ago?
end of the
Okay.
year. Yeah. It was either November or December.
Okay,
So contracts and everything.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And regarding the fare box ratio as well, it's a function of expenses and revenues. So I did ask G to provide a clarifying email because last I spoke with him, our ridership was up. So I'm not sure why that. I don't know where the disconnect is. So we'll have to take a look at that and
Okay.
clarify.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Okay, do we, Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak?
We do not, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Do I have a motion to receive and file the report? So moved. And adopt the resolution? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Aye.
Aye.
Councilmember Flores?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Escobedo?
No.
And Mayor Patino?
Aye. So thank you, Ms. Bradford, for the report, and it's been received and filed. Next, we will have a report by the city manager, David Rowlands.
City Mayor's Conference 2 weeks ago with a lot of good information there. Talked about leadership, and a couple of classes on economic development, and looking at the Green Initiative and how we can tap into those new ideas for job creation, mental health for yourself and for your employees. That's a big topic right now in our profession. And also how to do performance evaluations on your staff and your department directors. Some of the sessions I attended, plus talking with various city managers across the state. In addition, a couple upcoming council items, we have a SoCal gas easement coming up in March. We're looking for a couple of awards, not awards, but recognitions for Fair Housing Month, Community Development Week. We'll also be talking about CDBG proposed allocations in a drafted 5-year consolidation plan. And that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. So let's hear oral reports of council members. You want to start, Ms. Soto?
Sure. On Wednesday, February 12th, I attended the Downtown Revitalization Working Committee. That is it.
Thank you. Mrs. Aguilera Hernandez?
I also attended the Downtown Revitalization Committee meeting, and I also attended the board meeting for Marion Regional Hospital.
Thank you. Mr. Escobedo?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On February 4th, I attended the breakfast with the dean at A.T. Steele University.
Okay.
Thank
Ms.
you, Madam
Flores?
Mayor. I also attended the breakfast with the dean for the university. I also went to the ribbon cutting for Dan Blau. Blau. Roundtable Veterans. It was Zoom, Housing and Homeless via Zoom, and the Library Foundation fundraiser that they had this Sunday. And I also attended the Mayors and Council Member Academy in Anaheim.
Good, good. Thank you very much. On the 22nd, 24th, I did the League of California Cities Policy Committee in Sacramento and came home with a full-blown cold. On the February 1st, the Plains of Fame, oh, no, I didn't go there. I still had a cold there. I've been out of commission for a while. So February 7th, attended Leadership Santa Maria Valley panel. On February 9th, I did the California Alliance of Local Electeds meeting. February 10th, Dan Blau, the ribbon cutting for Dan Blau, and it was outside, and it was probably the windiest, coldest, windiest day we've had in Santa Maria so far. Usually we have staff show up for that and just a few people, like 4 or 5, and they just kept coming and kept coming. So Dan was very revered in our community, a member of the Rotary, and so a lot of the Rotarians were there. February 12th, attended the North County Subregional meeting in Solvang, and that evening the Rotaract at Allen Hancock College. And February 13th, we had our 61st Annual Employee Service Awards. And let's see, I attended the Elected Leaders Forum, Housing and Homeless on Zoom. February 16th, History of Sports in Santa Maria presentation, and attended the California Alliance of Local Electeds meetings, and that's via Zoom. Is there anything else from the council? If not, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.